Hello, SNA Assassinators. I'm back here like 10 minutes later to get ready for an AEW Grand Slam. And what an awesome event was it, wasn't it not? And I want to ask you just one little bit of a question. Should have been exactly like a pay-per-view that should have been exclusively on Max? Well, let's just say it was a special, all right, on I watched on YouTube TV and I heard that the rest of that it's going to be only exclusively on Max after it's live on the TNT broadcast. So yeah, if you want to, if you're in case if y'all missed it, on tonight's show, I would suggest you to go to the streaming service. If you have it, if of any sort, or if you don't, if you plan on getting it, I would suggest you get it now. Especially if you're anything Warner Brothers Discovery related, fan of, and also a genuine AEW fan, I would say you should get the streaming service, because they have all the AEW what they call AEW content on the library on Max right now. You can watch it for yourself, but. But it's where we got, we got all, and let's just say I got all the matches it was correctly it was. It was correctly like I predicted it to be. Every single match from the tag team Ospreay Omega versus Donald Callis family match to the AEW Women's World Championship match. It was exactly how I felt that it was going to happen. And it looks like I'm finally back on track, because as of late I was thinking what is wrong with my predictions and my my feelings lately. It's if I cannot feel anything, it's just the complete opposite that I can just have the vibe of. But this is where we saw the first time of the aerial assassin and the cleaner finally went together, the team to one another against the horrible duo of Kyle Fletcher and reigning defending international champion John Elton. To catch you, start off with the former best friend, the home country hero Kyle Fletcher. We more like a home country villain, but yeah, this is where he started going fist until Will Ospreay shoulder tackles him right into the right side. This is where Kyle Fletcher tried to go over back. This is where Will Ospreay went for his own. This is where it's a forearm strike right onto Kyle Fletcher. But Kyle Fletcher ends up going for a shoulder tackle. This is where Kyle Fletcher then was I'm the Aussie, the big fine Aussie here, which I'll say. I don't think you're either big or fine. That's kind of exaggerating a little bit, don't you think? But this is where we got Konosuke Takeshita, then hit a big pump boot right into the face on to Kenny Omega, send him right to the floor. This is where they try to go for a double clothesline, but Ospreay somehow goes or kip up, and this is where we got Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. Then it's where after they got Taunton, this is where we got Kyle Fletcher and went back in the corner till Konosuke Takeshita then tags Kyle Fletcher back in the ring. And here's where fans start chanting Ospreay, Ospreay, with them continue to spray. We tend to say they spray something, which I understand what kind of what they call what kind of fragrant they're spraying in the building. Let's hope it's something that's like an Aussie version of Febreze, if not the specific brand of the nice the nice smell spray, I guess you could call it, but of a very nice smell good spray, in some sort. But this is where we got Kyle Fletcher throws Will Ospreay right to the top corner side. This is where he took a page out of your boy Super Ninja Austin's book and hit a springboard flip and hit an step up insecurity like if it's WWE 2K24. Yeah, I know I mentioned the name of the other company, but I was making a point right here. But him doing the springboard step up insecurity. This is where Will Ospreay did go for a point at him, bang. And this is where then he went for a point. Fans started chanting, but yeah, it's tagging Omega. This is where Omega went right up on the top. I guess where then he didn't go for a frog's crossbody combo. This is where then Omega didn't go for a running axe handle. This is where the second one. This is where Omega who ready to go bang bang. And this is where then he goes for a discus right hand, but it's where he immediately gets dug by. What I'm talking about, Kyle Fletcher, but he gets kicked right in the gut. He gets thrown right to the right course side, but Kenny Omega counters and pulls him right back and try to go for a fireman's carry, but he ends up getting kicked right in the gut. Kyle Fletcher's I'm I am the proto star, whatever he's called, which sounds like a superstar and prototype put together, like if I'm not mistaken. But it's where Kenny Omega, after he hit a very impressive Hurricane Rana when he was coming right from the right side, and Omega like, like I haven't felt like this in a very long time. This is where Konosuke Takeshita nearly ruined it all when hitting a double axe handle to the back of the cleaner. That's where we got Konosuke Takeshita run to the right corner until he gets in with a step up in security. That's where we got Kenny Omega hit a leg drop right onto the Alpha. This is where then the cleaner then tags in Ospreay. This is where Ospreay then was getting ready to go fly. But this is where he's like, yeah, no, I have a better idea. You take care of Kyle while I'll take care of Konosuke. And this is where then Kenny Omega agrees that that's a perfect plan to do. This is where he's like, this is where they went to the respective corners with Kenny Omega the cannonball alley-oop right on the Kyle on the left side on the ringside area. And what's the name? Ospreay went to the right side and hit Konosuke Takeshita, which what's the name said, like, this is the moment that I've been waiting for many quite a while now. This is where Kenny Omega then started not Kenny Omega. Will Ospreay start going for right hands. This is where fans start chanting "fuck Donald Callis." Like, and yeah, that's the only time I'm gonna say that word because I don't think it's been need to say it by once. And since this was uncensored because this is the AEW, of course, I'm gonna say it once. But this is where then we got Kyle Fletcher threw Will Ospreay right into Kenny Omega, throw Ospreay out of the ring, kicks him, DDTs him, tags in Konosuke Takeshita. This is where then we got this is where he goes for a senton right on to the former AEW World Champion. This is where he tried to go for a pin, but the cleaner soonly kicked out of the maneuver at 2.3, which the referee let him know that, which and I believe the referee was Rick Knox at the time, which I'm not mistaken. But this is where he got him in a waist lock. But this is where Kenny Omega immediately got his right foot right onto the rope. But this is where the referee's like, hey, like, don't you listen to any words I'm saying? Like, his legs on the rope, it means his rope break. And this is where then this is where they start going for grapples right back into each other, right in the middle of the ring. This is where Kenny Omega hits him knife edge chops. This is where there's another one, which I believe is second place now because the reigning defending champ goes to Dax the Axe. But this is where he got Konosuke Takeshita the knee strike when he counted off an Irish whip from the former world champion. This is where he gets knee right into the midsection, try to go for pin, but he didn't even got to 4, yeah. And Kenny Omega still kicked out. This is where we got fans start cheering for Kenny. This is where Konosuke Takeshita got elbowing him right in the midsection because he knows that's the what they call, because that's the same place that where the diverticulitis at. This is where we got Konosuke Takeshita getting the elbow strike. Then he gets kicked right to the face when he tries to with the upper right side. This is where Kenny Omega hits a flying clothesline onto the Alpha, knocking him down. This is where Kenny Omega was trying to catch his breath because he just got hit right into the midsection very painfully. This is where we got him tagging Will Ospreay. He started hitting his moves onto the Will Ospreay, like of hitting the springboard phenomenal forearm, like right after he did that, he gets immediately booted right to the face by Kyle Fletcher. But luckily, Kenny Omega sent him right to the right corner side with a big V trigger, if I'm not mistaken. This is where he ends up getting back suplexed, though, by the international champion himself. This is where we got Konosuke Takeshita trying to go for turnbuckle springboard, but he ends up getting stuck and trapped right into the ropes with his head was right between his legs in the opposite manner. This is where Will Ospreay put him right on top, hit him with a super kick. This is where then Kyle Fletcher tried to kick him in the gut, try to run to the right side, but he ends up getting hit with a Spanish fly. This is where then Kenny Omega, this is where Will Ospreay then was right down the ground. This is where we got this is where he got his arrogant Aussie best friend and out of commission at the moment until the powerful force in all professional wrestling came on. But once they got done with the average, this is where we got Kenny Omega was still on top, like, which they must be. This must be he must be the fan of the aerial assassin for this particular reason. But this is where Will Ospreay was getting ready to hit the hidden blade. No, it was his other finisher, the Oz Cutter, like a certain nightmarish American that was inspired to hitting his own version of the maneuver. But Will Ospreay somehow hit a surfboard DDT right onto the right into the middle of the ring where Will Ospreay then was getting ready to hit the hidden blade, but he ends up hitting a big boot right into the face of Konosuke Takeshita. This where then he was getting ready, but Donald Callis tried to come in and ruin it. Like this where Will Ospreay pulled away his boot, which was a smart move, which Kenny Omega should have V-triggered him, which I understand why. But maybe it was focusing on the match. Maybe this would have cost him the match. So I guess that it was a smart move to worry about what's going on in the ring. This is where we got, but the distraction worked because Kyle Fletcher came in and hit a full Nelson suplex right onto what's his name, Will Ospreay, with Donald Callis. Thought that was the perfect distraction with fans were chanting the phrase, like, which is very non-PG, even though even though this is like a TV-14 rated show, I'm still going my word and not saying it again, like, because I don't want to what's it called, restricted of saying a bit too much. But this is where we got Will Ospreay trying to go for a close. I mean, Will Ospreay tags in Kenny Omega. He goes for a close arm to Konosuke Takeshita. Is where he try to go for a close arm right back. But this is where they start going for a close arm. This is where the Konosuke Takeshita try to get a right hand. But this is where Kenny Omega blocked, but he gets punched right in the midsection, which he should have saw that coming. But this is where we got Konosuke Takeshita then throws Kenny Omega right to the bottom. But this is where Kenny Omega counters, is where he started going for ducking out of each clothesline until he hit the flying, like, a big running elbow maneuver of some capacity. But it's where we got Will Ospreay comes in, hit a big old right hand, and then grab him, bend him over, start kicking him right into his forehead until he got back up. This is where Konosuke Takeshita discus forearm strike that I thought I'll never see him do ever. This is where we got what's his name, Konosuke Takeshita try to go for a full Nelson suplex, but he already hit this maneuver, which like the old saying goes, lightning does not strike twice. That was the case right here to the Alpha. Kenny Omega didn't counter into a wheelbarrow roll-up, but that's where we got. But the Alpha countered into a wheelbarrow. That's where they try to turn into a double German suplex, like if he's a certain Olympic gold medalist that hates the word "what." But that's where then we got. But that's where you got a little help with them slapping the hands off the ropes of Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, which he's the former ally. This is where then we got Kyle Fletcher then got back in the ring. This is where then he hits try to go for like a brainbuster maneuver along with the Konosuke Takeshita going for like a power bomb, like kind of hype to the cleaner of AEW. This is where Kenny Omega somehow did an avalanche hurricane Rana out of nowhere. This is where Will Ospreay then hurry up and went right up on the top rope in the bottom right corner side where the Donald Callis family member was located. He hits a very insane but impressive diving corkscrew right onto when the Kyle Fletcher was it, is where Kenny Omega hits a power bomb, followed it up with a V trigger, like if it's Fight Forever, when he bounced right off the bottom corner rope, knee him right into the face. This is where then we got Kenny Omega go for a pin, Brick Knox go for one, go for two, but it's where then Takeshita hit the right shoulder up at the last second of 2.99999, where Antonio Schiavone even admitted that he almost had a stroke from that near fall. But Kenny Omega then and try to go for like another V trigger, but I believe he got countered into a blue thunder bomb, which Simon would call the least most devastating move in all professional wrestling. And thinking of my boy, the master of the ups and downs, like he admitted that he used the blue thunder bomb in one of his matches when he defended his Proteus championship, when he spin around and go for a power bomb, but it did not work. But another move worked, but I totally forgot what move was it in particular. It's a very popular move, but I totally forgot right now. I'm so clueless right now because I've been trying to focus on what happened on AEW, and I was very excited, like what happened on tonight's show, and they really did a very successful job. And I'll probably this would be a controversial call to give it like the ratings I would give it on my perspective. I'm gonna get to that at the end of the video, but this is where we got Konosuke Takeshita was shocked, like even though like if Simon was there, he would probably say, "Why are you surprised?" Like that's why I call it the least most devastating move because it don't work. Like Sami Zayn made it happen like only 2 times. But anyways, this is where we got Kenny Omega to hit a poison Rana right onto one thing Konosuke Takeshita right to the left side. Like this is where Kenny Omega's like, yeah, like I'm. Is the finisher away? This is where then Kenny Omega try to get up. He's like, if I could do the finisher, this is where Kenny Omega like, I need to get up as quick as I can. This is where we got what's his name? Kenny Omega then finally got himself right back up. This is where then Kenny Omega then try to go for the V trigger or what was move what's called. Like when I'm saying with point right at him, was like yeah, like now now you're about to be evaporated. This is where he was like halfway there when he V triggered him right in the back. This is where Omega didn't go for a what they call a one-winged angel, but this is where they got Konosuke Takeshita then going for that's where Takeshita like they're trying to escape, but this is where Kenny Omega had a very foolproof like impressive plan of hitting on the top turnbuckle in the upper left, I mean the bottom left corner, like which is when some of y'all assassinators will call it a what they call an avalanche one-winged angel or something like that. That's where Kyle Fletcher then hits some kind of an avalanche running bulldog, which Kenny Omega then went right back down. This is where Will Ospreay's like, "Come on, Kenny Omega, execute the move." This is where he started doing pointing at him like, "Yeah," and this is where what they oh man, this is where trying to go for a V-trick. We end up getting super kicked right into the face by Kyle Fletcher. This is where then Kyle Fletcher, yeah, you're mine now. But this is where Ospreay came in and saves the day, hits the hidden blade. This is where then, which was T, by the way, because trying to go for the first. This is where Kenny Omega had his third V trigger, which was his third time in a row, which he must have been triple lucky. But before they could even hit their double underhook Tiger Driver neckbreaker twist maneuver and one-winged angels, is where then they got countered by the respective opponents. And then we got Kyle Fletcher then picks up what's name Will Ospreay with the same with Konosuke Takeshita doing the same Kenny Omega. That's where they hit the double tombstone pile drivers, and I'll start shouting in the air like they're not the Undertaker. And then that's where then they try to go for both Kenny and Will both kicked out at the exact same damn time at 2.7. And that's where then the Donald Callis family members like what does it take to put them away? Like which they got to figure it out on their own, but it's where This where then they start. This is where they start going for elbow strike right into the Donald Casman with the Donald Casman right back to Ospreay and Omega. Where the fans start booing them and start cheering Omega and Ospreay because they are the fan favorite baby faces that are badass. But this is where then both Omega and Ospreay screaming and then went for it back. This is where they start playing wrestling tennis to their respective arch rivals, like which they formerly used to been friends with. But this is where then they were beating each other so much to the point that they both felt well. At first it was Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita, then eventually Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay did, but until Ospreay went on the outside is where Kenny Omega hit a big boot right into the face onto Konosuke Takeshita. But that's where we saw a super kick and a forearm strike bounce right back with Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher doing the double combo maneuver, knocking down the cleaner, while Ospreay hits the springboard, trying a phenomenal forearm, like if he's a certain phenomenal wrestler that he used to wrestle in his time in NJPW. But it's where Kyle Fletcher had a super kick out of nowhere, like if he's a certain man that breaks hearts and that's still a kid, even though he's in his 50s, damn near 60s. But anyways, it's where we got Konosuke Takeshita then try to go for that alpha knee, but this is where they thought it was it. But somehow Omega, like, and I even spoke this like in thin air, like, and even like, yeah, even my sister was even cracking up when I said like he's gonna kick out, like in a very, I say, crazy but enthusiastic manner, like with him getting the right shoulder up at the last second. This is where we got Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher trying to attempt to go for a double team suplex onto the to the to the cleaner, but this is where like despite the brainbuster, Ospreay comes and saves the day in meddling, like because they would have easily gotten away with this victory, like if he didn't have the medal and protect his new ally. This is where then wasn't Donald Callis was with the commentators with Antonio Schiavone and what's his name and was it Excalibur or Nigel McGuinness? I think it was Antonio Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness were the only two commentators. But anyway, this is where Donald Callis described it as sickening, like with him, like now protecting Omega, like just for his benefits of getting the W out of this match. But it's where that's where after getting stomped like about 50 times, metaphorically speaking, that's where he started hitting some elbow strikes right to until he gets double jump by Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher with them trying to go for another double brain buster like they did with Omega. But this time, like, what's his name, nonchalantly just walk away, like after he helped Kyle Fletcher lift up Osprey, which was going to get to Ketchka. But that's where we got Osprey took a page out of Orange Cassidy's playbook. And speaking of the freshly squeezed orange, like we got a couple of things to say about him, because let's just say he will be making a big return this coming Wednesday. But I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But this is where we got he hits a stunt dog millionaire. This is where then he ducks out of a super kick by Kanosuke Takeshita. This is where he super kick of his own with a back legged kick up. That's where he tried to go for a hidden blow, but he ends up getting hit with a clothesline. That's where they got Kanosuke Takeshita to drop the knee pad like after he that's where then he tried to go for the alpha knee with the exposed knee, with Nigel McGuinness was assuming it'll be it if he can successfully execute. But Kenny Omega grabbed onto that leg, blocking it in the process. This is where Omega's like, nope, hits a big forearm strike, but not once, but thrice, not once or twice, but until Takeshita had a big old elbow right to the face. This where he screamed up in the air. This where he goes right back in the bottom corner side. He gets hit with a V trigger, which is Kenny Omega's fourth attempt, which it seemed like ever since what they call it, that match he had with Gabe Kidd back in Wrestle Dynasty, which I talked about in January, like where he had like a 5-star classic with him, which I believe that was like the number one best match of the night, Golden Trophy. The top 3 matches that I put that was on that card, along with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. But anyways, this is where we got Kenny Omega went right down. They seem like this cannot be cursed. Like no matter what, who would hate them to do that signature maneuver, including Donald Callis himself. Like in this situation, this is where then we got. That's where Omega was like, yeah, like I need to finish him off my finisher, which he unsuccessfully did at first. But he was wondering like how can he how could get a guarantee, which he tried to do right here. But I believe he was unfortunately double cursed, because once he tried to go for one winged angel, like this is where we got the eyes raked by Kanosuke to catch good, which I'm surprised, or maybe not, like that the referee didn't do nothing about it. This is where we got Kanosuke to catch up, slams him back first with him still on his back. This is where then we got Kyle Fletcher came in, hits a boot right into his face. This is where then he went up right up on the top rope, trying to go for an avalanche-like maneuver, because he was on the top rope in the mountain of the of the mountain of high flyers. That's what's probably called. But this is where we got Kenny Omega.
Chico, come here.
Flip right
Chico,
over, right into the right corner side. This is where we got
Chico for Friday.
This is where we got Kanosuke to catch, try to go for a pop Hurricane Rana. But this is where we got Kenny Omega, then tripping right over. Hits face first right to the upper left corner side, or right corner side actually on the turnbuckle. This is where then we got Kanosuke to catch that was trying to get back up and trying to rejuvenate, but there was no time for that, because Omega's partner Osprey then hits a what they call a cannonball, landing right onto Kyle Fletcher. This is where then we got Osprey like, yeah, let's do this, bruv. Like, yeah, come on, Omega, bruv. Like, we can do this. This is where we got Kenny Omega then hit the one winged angel right onto Kanosuke to catch him, but him finally getting that third time the charm, which he must have felt in the upper right corner side turnbuckle corner, with a hint of Will Ospreay's finisher of his own, the hidden blade, like kind of combo, which I hope that they stay as a duo, like in fighting the tag team division, because they can make an awesome team. Ospreay and Omega, they are 2 of my greatest favorite AEW wrestlers of all time, and maybe overall in professional wrestling. But this where, yeah, you should have seen this for yourself when Ospreay hits the back elbow right in the back of the head of Kanosuke, with Omega flipping him right over with the slam, getting the 1, 2, 3 in the process. Winner of his match, Omega and Will Ospreay. And I want to give a huge congratulations, which I'm definitely giving it the silver trophy of the night, I guess you could say. Yeah, the silver trophy, and yeah. And let's say it's tied with the next match up next, which I'm going to talk about in just very shortly. But But this wasn't Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega look at each other like, yeah, we finally did it. But that was not all yet, because once they got them backstage, it's where they let them know that they're not quite done with their respective arch enemies that they face in the tag team match. Even though they put whatever feud and they came together and joined forces to stop the evil plans of the Donald Callis family, they're still like what's that? Like still have some scores to settle with them, like with Kenny Omega challenging what's his name, challenging like what's his name, Konosuke Takeshita for the international championship. I'm not sure when it's gonna be. Like I'm not sure if it's gonna be a Revolution or maybe even the next couple weeks on the road to that. Like, but he challenging for that belt while what's his name, Will Ospreay challenged what they call Fletcher, I believe, at AEW at the next pay per view or next big event, which is AEW Revolution, which is going to be at the Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles, California. That's where it will be in a steel cage match where no Donald Callis family could get involved. Like it'll only be him and only them two, I should say. Let me rephrase that. And who do you think is going to win these matches respectively? Do you think it's going to be Omega, or do you think it's going to be Konosuke Takeshita, who's going to walk out as the international championship in their latest fight? And who do you think is going to walk out of the cage as the victor between Ospreay and Takeshita, of these former two United Empire besties? Let me know down in the comments also about that as well down below. And I just think that we could see Konosuke Takeshita retain, like with some outside interference with the Donald Callis family members, like, and maybe even have another member like from either Omega or Ospreay to join and turn their backs onto either the aerial assassin or the cleaner, which I think it could be somebody from the elite, though, if you ask me. And no, I'm not, unfortunately not talking about Hangman Adam Page. But we're just gonna have to wait and see about that when this title match does happen. Which in regardless, I would prefer him to go after Okada's belt and probably be the one to dethrone him for that title and be a championship from AEW has yet to be, which next to the TNT and the International Championship, which he's been half the championships already in AEW. But only three belts that he probably haven't been yet is the AEW Continental, the AEW TNT, and even the International. But next up, we got the other match that was probably second trophy, the second place silver trophy of the night, and that was the TBS Championship match between the hometown and country hero Harley Cameron taking on the CEO, the current TBS champion Mercedes Moné. And yeah, this match was totally fantastic as well. Like it was definitely the definition of. It was definitely the definition of greatness, if I say so myself. But and we even got some funny gags with that silly puppet that Harley Cameron has that she makes fun of the CEO with. But anyways, yeah, for those that are unaware, and that's probably trying to understand like what's the first place of what got the first trophy of the night. Let's say it's the main event. Let's say it's another women's match, like for the let's say for the major women's championship. That's all I'm going to say right now. And that was a complete stupendous contest, I guess you could say. Nothing but nothing. I'll say nothing but greatness onto that as well. Like with them showing that AEW's women's division is far from being like from 5 years ago when they were struggling of making it very relevant. But and that's where we got and then I gotta admit, like Harley Cameron did a very fantastic job, like of impressing the crowd. And this is where we saw what's her name, what Momo Watanabe, which I believe she won the New Japan slash AEW crossover Women's World Cup like back a month ago at AEW Wrestle Dynasty. And it looked like whoever wins this match is gonna be feuding with him. Maybe perhaps at AEW Revolution. I was a little too a month ahead because I was about to say Dynasty, which is gonna be in April rather than March, because the next pay per view for AEW is going to be in March. Is going to be the Revolution one. But anyways, this is where we got. This is where we got the match started. Like Harley Cameron did a pretty impressive job. But the one thing I had to, that I one thing I'm gonna say right here that I'm glad nothing happened like that. The CEO did not feel the wrath of Harley Cameron. She should save that for somebody that's creepy or even obnoxious. If I say correctly, like of course, but this is where we got the match started with the two of these very talented ladies, like trying to go for roll ups, which is the most devastation. But this is where we got Harvey Cameron impressively did a flying head scissors and side Russian leg sweep majiggy maneuver, whatever you want to call it. But this is where she runs right to the right corner side. This is where she hits a face plant maneuver or a back plant, whatever. This is where you go for a pin. Aubrey Edwards go for 1, 2. This is where Monet goes for a right shoulder up. This is where we got Harley Cameron then was having the biggest ovation, which she's probably not the only Aussie, like except for Kyle Fletcher, because the other two have title matches that are challengers as well. And my boy Anthony did a pretty good job, like of having these Aussies like challenge for these particular championships and executed them perfectly, and not because of the benefits of SNA, but also for the business in general, like with them like bringing the E in entertainment, even though that's not what the E in AEW stands for. But anyway, this is where we got the CEO is about to end it early to Harley. But this is where Harley ends up exiting out of the Money Maker. This is where she hits an arm drag right onto Mercedes, right into the bottom left side. Then she goes for a running the springboard like bulldog choke right face and throat first right into the ropes between the middle and top, like if she's Monet's best friend over at the other company that she won tag team gold with. But I'm not going to mention it right now because for two reasons. One, one that don't even make any sense. But let's say her friend did this yesterday to that other women's mid card champion that's based from America, all thanks to the male counterparts version of the belt of that said company. And yeah, and it and it kind of the way the Harley did it was similar to like Naomi did it. Like, what am I talking about? I just said the name ups. What I even say that for? That's what Harley's been saying. Like, you're gonna feel the wrath now. Like, even though she was choking right onto the ropes, I don't think that was the wrath that she was looking for though. But this is where she grabbed onto that godforsaken puppet that kind of reminds me of Simon Says. And that's where she grabbed onto it, and then she started hitting some right hands, with her right hands right into the head onto Monet, with her right arm holding onto the puppet, like with her holding it up. And that's when she started slamming with the puppet. Luckily, Monet moved out of the way right on time, hits the double knees into a meteor. No one can do it better. But that's where she grabbed onto that puppet, started stomping onto it like if it's a live event house show. That's when she tossed it and kicked it right off into the bottom right corner side to the fan, right into that corner. This is where I was like, that was one lucky fan that got a chance to free merchandise. But anyway, this is where we got the CEO to grab onto the Wrath Maker, like with her foot, and start squeezing her neck right into the corner, right into the bottom right corner side. Then she tried to hit her face first, which she successfully did so, of course. Right into the upper right corner side is where she starts squeezing her right into her with her foot right in her neck, like into the diagonal side. This is where she went right to the bottom right corner side with Aubrey. Was okay, like stop, like and when she was at 3.5, it's like okay, Aubrey, I'm doing it. This is where she went right into the bottom right corner side. This is where she hit the meteor right into the face, right into the upper right corner side, which I start shouting, EO Sky has nothing on her. And this way, then we got dragging on to the Harley Cameron. Goes for a pin, but this is where Harley kicks out at 2.7, if I'm not mistaken. But it's where then Harley Cameron's like, I may be down, but I'm not out. Like, no, I'm not letting my fans and friends and family down, the triple Fs that she associates with, in her home country of Australia. But this where, despite that, like she still was keep getting tarnished by the CEO. This is where she got her knee right into the back of her neck. And this is where she snap mirrors her right into the middle ropes. Not middle rope, the middle of the canvas. This is where she runs right to the top corner. This is where she hit the meteor, like if it's 2K24. But this is where she ends up, this is where Harley Cameron gets a kick out. This is where then that she was getting very frustrated. This is where we got the match went on to the advert break, which is the most powerful force in all of professional wrestling. and this is where we got once they got done with the adverts, is where then they went back into the action, and this is where we got Harvey Cameron right on the offense position, of course, because there was the powerful force that helped her out with it. This is where we saw her hit some strikes onto Monet. This is where she threw her right to the right side. Cameron then hit her with another clothesline, hit her with a third clothesline. This is where she tried to go for another one for 4 times the charm, but unfortunately it wasn't the case. This is where we got the CEO that took a page out of her idol's playbook, which is the late great which is about to be 20th anniversary of his sadly passing, the Latino Heat himself, Eddie Guerrero, which she, next to him, I believe she's the second best wrestler to do the Three Amigos, if I'm quite mistaken, like, because Dirty Dom is at number 3, and I just mentioned him by name, even though it's kind of his nickname rather than his full name. But this is where she did a little funny arm shimmy, whatever you want to call it. But this is where then she went right over her, like by stepping right over her midsection, like if she's that certain sky girl that don't have the friends, even though she have one best friend in particular, like over at the other company that I just mentioned that she has nothing on the CEO. But anyways, this is where we got her trying to go from the top rope, try to hit the frog spot, the put a centerpiece onto the maneuver of her idol, but unfortunately for her, she ends up getting kneed right by Harley Cameron with her getting the knees up. This is where she tried to go for a schoolgirl roll-up, which is the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling, but ends up my man kicked out 2 before. This is where we got Harley Cameron kicks her right into the face when she was trying to attack her on the bottom left side. This is where Monet started elbowing her. This is where she ends up trying to go for ripcord. This is where she tried to go for her pump handle pickup slam, which I thought she was going to go for a similar move that another Aussie would do, like if she was wrestling the CEO. But luckily, like, that did not happen. She just hit like a back suplex version of this pump handle maneuver that I thought she was actually going to hit. But this is where then we got the CEO kicks out at like 2.1, if I'm not mistaken. This is where Harvey Cameron's okay, that don't even matter because I got plenty of moves that came from. And she shouted, "Feel the wrath!" And then I was like, "Oh no, like not the wrath, not the wrath." Like, why can't it be somebody that totally deserves this? But anyways, I don't know what I'm even saying right now. Just where we got, but the CEO then hits a backstab out of reversal, whatever move that Harley had in mind. This is where Mercedes did a drop kick right onto Harley right after she hits the backstabber, which I thought she was about to hit her statement maker, because that's what you would normally do if she was over at the other company. But unfortunately, it's not like that. But this is where somehow, like we saw that exact same, if not like an identical twin of that abomination of a puppet, which which I thought that she kicked it to the fans to have as a free merchandise. But either, unfortunately, like it came back to Harley, like with some kind of teleportation powers, or even like Harley probably happened to have a second one in case if Monet threw it to the crowd, which she did with her foot. But it's where then we got. That's where Harley just started making, she's like Monet train, like, and Monet gonna feel the rat. That's where did she hit her with the puppet when she tried to go for a baseball slide, which unfortunately for the CEO, that she missed her by an inch. That's where she gets clobbered with the puppet. She gets hit face first right onto the apron. That's where she was like probably halfway there to the raft with her screaming, "Feel the wrath," like, which she was on her way there, but luckily not entirely. But it's where we got. It's where she had the fans start chanting "Feel the Wrath" right after she shouted out. This where she went right up on the top rope in the upper right corner side to try to make her opponent that she's trying to win the TBS championship to feel the wrath. She hits the crossbody, which that used to be in the comeback maneuver. This where did she try to go for Canadian Destroyer, which was successfully executed amazingly, because AEW is very familiar with that maneuver. But once she tried to go for a pin, that's where Monet still kicked out at 2.999999999 double triple nine minus 0.1 away from being 3. Just where Harvey Cameron's like, I thought for sure that would at least gotten her at least got her for the 3 count exactly, like before she even do any kickouts. But unfortunately for the ref creating star, is where she gets stopped right at the nines of ninedoms, like Excalibur would say. But this is where we got Harley Cameron trying to go for a clothesline, but somehow Monet dodges out of it, gets a guaranteed Monet maker. Oh no, I think I made a huge mistake because it wasn't a guarantee; it was a double whammy onto her. And yeah, sadly she was double cursed for it. This is where we got Harley Cameron to go turn into a roll up, but that's where Monet countered, and I believe he hits a power bomb, looks similar to a certain wrestler that has a list, which I believe they're trying to take a dig off of him, I guess you could say, for him having a list of guys that she's working with, like which I believe she don't appreciate from this guy that's a general. Well, she probably must have said like he must be the ring general. Well, I am the general of women's wrestling, or the general or the CEO general, or the Monet general, whatever you want to call it. But this is where once she did that power bomb, looks similar to that general wrestler. This is where then she drags on to Harley. This is where, yeah, like we're not being very appreciative for that guy to have of an envy list, or a list of enviness, like to her colleagues. This is where she is a meteor on the Harley Cameron, go for a pin. Then she almost got a three, like once, like Harley Cameron got the legs and shoulder up when Aubrey near had her hand onto the mat for the three count. But before she can even get the three, Harley kicked out immediately. But yeah, it was 2.999999999 minus 0.1 away from being three of the land of ninedoms. But this is where Harley Cameron nearly got a win, but only got a 2.2 when she got a wheelbarrow. This is where she tried to go for another roll up, but unfortunately for the RAF creator, this is where she only got a kick out at 2.2 again. This is where Cameron tried to throw Mercedes right into the right corner side. This is where it ends up getting backfired in her arsenal. This is where then we got this is where then Monet tried to go for tackle her like she's a very angry bull. But this is where she ends up getting what they call lured into a trap, because this is where we got Harley Cameron in the sunset with powerbomb like she's a certain nightmarish American. But this is where then she trips over the CEO when she tried to go for an attack on her. But this is where we got Harley Cameron went right to the top corner side, try to make Mercedes Monet feel the wrath with a leg sliding kick with that. It looks very similar to a wrestler that used that maneuver like over the other company, which it represents his area code or whatever that was, which Monet was right into the bottom. I mean the middle rope. This is where she went right up to the top rope, like if she's that wrestler like that used to be associated with Eddie Guerrero. But this is where I believe she tried to go for swanton. But this is where Mercedes Monet moved out of the way, rolled out of the ring. This is where she grabbed onto her. I believe she must have found a what they call third time is the charm card, like right into the bottom right corner side. This is where she used it, hit the Monet maker. 1, 2, 3, still your TBS champion, the CEO Mercedes Monet. And yeah, and a humongous congratulations to her, just like my boys Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. And another prediction that was successfully executed from your boy SNA. But even if it did not work, I still would enjoy the match because these two ladies put on a very entertaining fight. And I hope this won't be the last time they do get in the match, even though I was kind of fearing for the life of the CEO for feeling the wrath of Harley Cameron, because I heard the last person that did feel the wrath, it never was brought back into television on AEW. I may be exaggerating, but just think about it. Like, we haven't seen them since. Maybe I could be mistaken, but with that first win that Harley had, we haven't seen her in weeks. Like, you never know about that particular women's wrestler. But luckily, she survived the raft. And she didn't even got hit with the raft, if I'm not mistaken, or if I'm saying this correctly. Now she remains as the TBS champion. This is where she went face to face with a former rival in New Japan, or maybe even a current rival, where they're pushing the TBS championship in their face, which that's a feud that's probably going to be leading up to AEW, Revolution, which that would be very interesting to see. And would you like to see Monet defend that title against Watanabe name? Let me know. Let me know down in the comment section right down below. If you want to see her defend that title against her, I believe she defended her New Japan Strong Women's title at a New Japan show. So this will be the first time if she defends an AEW title against her in an AEW pay-per-view. But let me know all about that in the comments. But even though Harley Cameron did not win, and it's very sad that she didn't get a chance to have her moment in her home country, like and win the championship. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't have minded her winning and dethroning Monet. But it's just that Mercedes Monet's been on one hell of a run, and it'll be a shame if their reign ended right here. Like it's been almost a year since she's been held in that title. I think she should hold on to that title at least for a year and a half. Then dethrone into a worthy opponent. And let me know in the comments below who do you think should dethrone the CEO, even though that's too soon to be asking these questions, but I thought I might ask just out of curiosity because it's very interesting to talk about that in the conversations. But moving on, we got the next match, which is going to be a tag team street fight match, like a Brisbane street fight, I believe it's called, with the rated R superstar Cope, like that has hope of everything because he's filled with it, like, and he's not a dope, like with his former fellow Canadian, I guess you could call him, like, or should I say, his fellow Canadian colleague, more likely you want to call him into those terms. But yeah, he was out there to help out the Switchblade Jay White. And they have another prediction that was successfully executed correctly. But like this, but yeah, this match, was. This match was probably about 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, and it was like exactly how I predicted it to be. Like, considering the fact that John Moxley promises to try to make Cope's life a living hell. Like, I believe trying to steal a line from a certain general that runs the ring, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But we do get the match, but this is where once Moxley and Claudio then came out to the ringside area, like into the right side from the audience. This is where Cope that has hope and Switchblade Jay White then waited long enough, and this is where they jumped right on top of the Death Rider members and started beating the holy hell out of them. Like, and this is where then we got we even hoped to rip off Claudio's shirt. This is where then we got what's his name, Jay White, and went up to John Moxley because he was making fun of Mox and saying how hot Renee is, which I think the Jay White's very horribly mistaken for saying that. But this is where we got. But this is where we got John Mox start hitting him right in the gut because he would start hitting on his wife, and he did not like that. And yeah, and he's gonna try to he was trying to promise him that he's gonna kill him, which I believe that is a crime even in wrestling. But this is where Claudio and Adam Copeland and were right up to the stairs, started beating the holy the Holy Spirits out of each other. This is where we got Jay White through Moxley right into that exact same open up barricade that where Cope and Claudio went into. This is where I know Claudio tried to go for a neutralizer, I believe, but this is where Cope has hope. Then definitely the hope was had finally paid off. Then counter out of it. This is where John Moxley grabbed onto a fan favorite weapon. Oh no, it was Jay White that grabbed onto the fan favorite weapon in all of professional wrestling, which is the tables. All thanks to those extreme dudes that like brothers that love getting tables out and testifying them. But this is where then we got this is where we got John Moxley then get countered into an interception with a maneuver that was stolen by him, which was with Jay White, which he was saying, if I steal your finisher, which is the paradigm shift, then I'm gonna steal your hot wife because everybody won't stop telling Moxley how hot she is, which I would say I doubt that she is even in near the books of definition of hot because where exactly her attraction's coming from. But that's where then we got Cope that has hope. Then went up right up on top of the entrance, right off the top is where Cope then did the and this hand taunt like to the fans, like we're cheering on with him. And the fans were such a was in favor of Cope to the point they were singing along his theme song. Like when he entered the ring, he's like on this day, I see clearly everything has come to light, and he's like of everything like in a broken dream, and we'll leave it all behind. Yeah, like they were just going down the list on the verse like on that theme song, like which he still do have. It's where John Moxley then This where then Copeland hits the Pater crossbody on the Claudio Castagnoli with the fans start chanting "Holy shit!" And that's the only time I'm gonna say it. But this is where we got John Moxley and got helped back up by his female intern or secretary, Miss Marina Shafir, which I believe she's the wife of my boy Roddy Strong. But this is where they set up a table to try to plant on the cope that has hope. Like he always still have hope. Like, and this is where he has hope yet again because it's where but that's where we got that's where John Moxley said, I have a better idea. How about I use this table on the Jay White? We'll just use another table onto the Rated R Superstar when he played him right up on the table. And then once he got all his legs put together, and then make sure the table is sturdy, that's gonna still stay until he lands on it. And after a couple of right hands to the face, and that's where it's like it's not gonna look good for you. It's keep my wife's name out your mother flubbing mouth or something like that. That he shouted to Jay White. This is where then Minister Fear is like, yeah, you should never mention the man's wife. Like you'll see, like nobody talking like that to my man like that, which that's because like they're feeling sorry for him, like because they think she really is like this mean woman spirit, I guess you could say. But this is where John Moxley went up on the top rope, then tried to go for a flying elbow, but luckily Cope as Hope then came out and saved the day and said that he said nope, like, and I'm also not a dope because I got you right up on the joke or got you on the ropes, I meant to say. I don't know where the joke even came from, but yeah, he's like, because he's not a dope, and he's gonna suplex him off the top rope. That's the right term to use. That I was looking for. That's the line. That's the rhymes I was looking for. That's where Marina Shafir started, and then whacked Cope right into the back. That still had hope, but luckily, like Jay White came in and said nope himself, and he's like you're about to get dope, like by the rope, and this is where Claudio's like, now you're gonna get hit with a European upper Cope, and this is where then there's like speaking of Cope, then Claudio grabs onto him, hits a sunset flip power bomb onto him, hitting him in half with the table. This is where then we got the partial powerful force and all professional wrestling came back on, which is a commercial break. But one thing got done with the app, with this advert, is where we got um uh then Cope then came back with a comeback, which was the powerful forces was thanks to him. But this is where we got John Moxley then hits a paradigm shift out of nowhere when he tried to go for the DD Impaler. But this is where he throws him right into the right corner side. This is where we got Claudio then grab onto a table, brings it into to the ring. This is where then John Mox is like excellent thinking, genius thinking. Like I've been even though we sent Cobra into that first table, we're not quite done with him yet. This is where they placed it right into the upper left corner side and the screaming demands of Mox. And that's where we got Jay White start whacking the backs and midsection, start swinging away onto Claudio and John, like right with these kendo sticks, like they're all swinging forward and back like if they're playing Fight Forever. And speaking of which, this where we got plenty of chance of those, but I'm gonna get into that in just a moment. But this is where we got Claudio got what's his name? Jay White right into an electric chair position. This is where Jay White flipped right out of it, pushes Claudio right into the upper left side. He trips over John Moxley right into the family jewels. I'm like, luckily him and Renee, even though I don't have nothing like, even though like I don't have no sympathy for them, but like even for brainwashable people like them, they still don't deserve to be without families. Even villains need families. But anyways, it's where we got Claudio trying to attack Jay White after he messed up the planned spot. This is where then he and this is where Jay White move out of the way. He hits head first right into the chair. This is where Jay White hits the Blade Runner right onto Claudio Castagnoli, which I spoke to too soon because I thought he was gonna hit, but I did not know there was a chair that was wedged right in the bottom left side. This is where it looked like they were about to win, and him and Cope would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for a meddling weasel, which it was their little training weasel that was under the ring, which I was wondering at the time, like where he was located, where he was at, like to get there so fast. He started whipping him right into the belt. with his belt. Like at first, Jay White was phased by, but Jay White wasn't like for the last like dozens of times. It was like come on, like I want you to hit harder. Like what are you, a 9-year-old little girl? And this where then he went up and attack what name Willie Uno with a Blade Runner to him as well. This is where Moxley hit a curb stomp like if he's his former brethren, like they used to team with over at the other company, and even won tag team gold with that guy. But that's where a Cope that has hope then said you're about to be my little dope, and trips over John Moxley, hits him right between the legs, right ring post into the family jewels. It looks like that his daughter's going to be the only kid that he's going to be having at this time, with Renee Paquette, because it's not like they can add a new addition to the family, which I sound a little inappropriate when I say it in that way. But it's where Cope that had hope then knew that he was going to spear the dope Claudio Castagnoli right into the table like a little yope, which wherever I don't know what that even means. But this is where we got. This is where then he hits up this is where Claudio then hits a European uppercut and the interception out of a spear. This is where he tried to go for a neutralizer, but this is where Copeland hits a back body drop. He ends up hitting the spear, which was a guarantee. You know the rules. If it don't work the first attempt, it's gonna work the second time because it always is the guarantee unless that wrestler's double cursed. But Edward Copeland did the same to John Moxley, right into the middle of the ring. Like that John Moxley coming and try to attack, but he got a third time the charm, like with the card. Is where they showed an instant replay of an impressive maneuver from the rated R superstar. Edward Copeland grabbed onto a barbed wire steel chair. Like he brought in the ring with a regular steel chair to try to go for a concerto. And I believe that will eventually do this like one day. But unfortunately, that did not happen because Edward got when Nigel McGuinness was feeling sympathy to what's name John Moxley. He's gonna break his neck, like making John Moxley, if he's the victim, he must have been drinking that very disgusting toxic water, which I probably previously said before. But I'm just gonna make it I'm gonna use it with clarity this time. Like he definitely drank that water from Cincinnati, and like I don't understand what is wrong with that commentator for feeling too bad for Moxley when he really deserves this. But that's where we got him trying to go for concerto. Willie Yuta came in for the save. Then this is where That's where we got Marina Shafir grab onto the briefcase that had that disgusting substance and the AEW World Championship right in the head of Cole. Claudio hits the what they call the neutralizer. That did not work. Like so, John Moxley didn't hit a rear naked choke. This is where Cope looked like they were gonna have hope to escape out of the ring and don't worry about being coped in with this rear naked choke. And this where but the choke got the better of him. I guess I'm saying I'm not gonna say this just because he completely did, but he loses a little bit of hope because he got choked out like into this rear naked choke. And the winner of this match, the Death Riders, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. And I'm not sure if they should get any congratulations. They're barely going to get the bronze trophy of the night because considering on the impressive job that Cope and Jay White did tonight against these guys that love brainwashing people. All thanks to John Moxley's hometown. But that's what John Moxley's like, yeah, like you haven't seen The Last of Us, and until in the next few weeks of AEW Revolution, like I am gonna make your life a living hell. And I believe that he made a certain ring general very jealous and very envious and more hatred on him, and he got upgraded with a bonus point of a reason why he hates guys like Mox and the rest of the roster. Because he just said his catch, and this is where he went on the camera and said Cope is very stupid, which I'm not sure if he's saying something that's absolutely right there, but he sound very stupid for even saying that in the first place when it don't even make any sense. But anyways, let me know down in the comment section right down below about being in another level with the master of the envy list, like for making him perhaps very mad. But I'm gonna let you guys to decide about that. And this is where John Moxley screamed right in the camera, like he's gonna be doing the same, like when they get into Los Angeles, California. But But it was like exactly how I predicted it to be with John Moxley choking out. And I don't know how I predicted that. I was they're probably not gonna have Cope like just easily take a pinfall unless if it makes sense in the storyline, like whether if it's for the championship or even like whether if it's for a championship or even for like or even like if it's important in the storyline for like with a wrestler that's just as good as he is and talented, like and that's in his level. And speaking of level, I totally forgot that Will Ospreay said that to Konosuke Takeshita because he's in a whole different level. Like when he let him know that he is coming after him, like in that match in particular, like for AEW Revolution and Steel Cage, like when they're at the crypto.com arena, if I'm not mistaken. But it's where we got the next match in the next Aussie born wrestler, I guess, or the Australian born wrestler that that was the challenger for his championship. The opportunity was one third of the Hounds of Hell, Buddy Matthews. You should have seen him. Like he showed that he's not a sacrificial lamb to the bitch man. Like that was holding the Continental Championship and claims he is. He's the rainmaker that he thinks he can control the rain, but obviously he does not. This is where he tries to shake hands with Okada, try to be reasonable, like who could blame Buddy Matthews. But it's where this bitch man gave him the finger. But luckily, what's his name thought quickly. This is where he's like, I knew you were gonna do this, Mr. Matthews. This is where he's like, okay, like you're gonna regret doing that. This is where he started going after for that arm, starts twisting. This is where Okada started trying to go for a headlock slam. This is where Buddy Matthews unfortunately go for a what they call a flying head scissor lock. But this is where he kind of out of it. This is where we got Okada then throws him right to the right or left corner side. This is where try to go for a shoulder tackle, but it's where the man that acts more like a robot than a human then started looking around like like I'm I'm not afraid of you, beach. And this is where then they try to go for another grapple war. This is where we got Buddy Matthews winning, sending Okada right into the right corner side. So it looked like he about to hit him with a big old devastating chop. This is where he patted him right into the chest. This is where then Okada, okay, like you want to play that game? This is where he did the exact same thing to him when he was holding on to him for the last 4 seconds. This is where he's about to chop him, but else they both would have been like in the second or third place spot. Like one of them or even both or one each. This is where then we got Okada. Okay, if you're my biggest competitor, yeah, I can prove it. This is where we got what's name Buddy Matthews. Oh, I'll show you like I am championship material. This is where it goes for a back to play maneuver, but this is where Okada pushes him right to the right corner side. This is where trying to go for clothesline. This is where we got Buddy Matthews ducking each way. This is where he hangs on to the rope. He trips him right over, hits a curb stomp with the same guy that Moxley used to team with usually does. This is where Okada try to go for a rainmaker, like which we all know what was going to be happening next. Like he didn't successfully hit it this time. It's where Buddy Matthews went to the bottom course. It's where he outsmarted the man that claimed he can control the rain, sliding Hurricane Rana, rope bound. This is where Buddy Matthews and tried to go for a running suicide. But this is where he knew that Okada right by him, like, not today, Okada. And this is where I was like, like I knew I could count on Buddy for this one, like until at the end. Of course. But this is where fans started saying like, boo to Okada. Like I'm starting to be an Aussie fan now because they have the excellent taste of not even liking this bitch man that claims he can control the rain. This is where then my boy Buddy Matthews gave him the finger. This is where then Okada ran out of the ring. This is where he tried to grab onto his Continental Championship. This was like Okada, stop. Like I know I've been calling you a bitch from the last couple weeks now. But you're worse than that. As judging what you're about to do right now, just leaving with your championship, you're just an absolute wanker. And then this is where Okada not like him saying this. Is where he went right back in the ring. This is where he started grappling out again. This is where this is where Okada started pushing Buddy Matthews right to the right side with a head full of steam. This is where then he did him with a big old. This is where the big old slap right to they look like about to tease again. Like this is where then it was like this is where he got into the fifth place spot of the envy list of the ring general, which hopefully that he does chop the sugar honey iced tea out of him. But this is where he got what's his name? But after Okada got right into the left corner side, he went right to the right. This is where he ends up getting knee right to the midsection. Buddy Matthews hit a knee strike right to the face. This is where Buddy Matthews hit a knee right to his face. He tried to go for a pin, but Okada kicks out at like 2.1 with Stephon Smith. Like only got like in particular counted. But this is where we got. That's where I got Buddy Matthews hit a suplex right off the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, by the way. But this is where we got Buddy Matthews and we're back in the ring with the fans start chanting, Buddy, Buddy, Buddy. And this is where then we got that's where Buddy Matthews then went up, got back up. This way the European uppercut sends Okada right to the top corner side. Then go and picking up Okada. Then hits him, throws him back in the ring. That's where Buddy Matthews went up, brought up in the top rope and the upper right corner side. Then hits a meteor right onto his way. But it's where Okada moved out of the way. It's where then Okada, nope, like nobody don't do that, but the one wrestler here in particular that he's been grown fondness with, which I understand why he does. But this is where then we got Buddy Matthews hit a big old boot right onto Okada. This is where Okada hit the flapjack. And that's where Buddy Matthews somehow still got back up, but still feeling the pain and the impact of it. This is where Buddy Matthews going to the middle rope, but he ends up getting drop kicked by right up in midair. This is where you get right into the bottom course. This is where we got the powerful force into all of professional wrestling came on, which was the commercial break. But once they got done with the adverts, this is where we got Buddy Matthews was right on top. We're making a huge comeback against the reigning, defending, Continental Champion of AEW. This is where he hits the guaranteed meteor because he couldn't be able to do it in the upper right corner side, but he went to the opposite side in the bottom right and hit it onto there. But that's where Okada kicks out at 4. This is where Okada tried to go with wheelbarrow rope. This is a 2.7. This is where Okada then hits a neck like a neck breaker. This is where Okada then gave a very ugly smile I've ever seen of a professional wrestler, of course. But this is where Okada then picks him right up. This is where he tried to go for a tombstone pile driver, but I think it was a body slam. But this is where then we got and we went up right up on the top rope. This is where then we got this is where Okada tried to go for elbow drop right onto the midsection, onto Buddy Matthews. That's where Okada's like, it's time, I guarantee. And that's where I was like, yeah, this is my biggest fear. This is going to happen. With him giving everybody the finger in Australia, I felt so bad for the country down under to have to suffer, like seeing every second of this very obnoxious bitch man, which I'm still barely keeping up with my eyes from not watering much as already it is, because like for me, like watching him and my eyes was melting into a crisp. Which if that's even the thing, but this is where we got Okada and shake hands with Buddy Matthews. This is where then he picks up. This is where Buddy Matthews grabbed onto that exact same finger he was using onto the Aussie fans. This is where but he was getting booted right into the face. This is where he was down onto his knees. This is where we got Buddy Matthews start squeezing the finger. Hopefully he snaps it right off his hand. This is where Okada to try to go for a forearm strike, which he got him in the jaw by Buddy Matthews. Try to go for a rainmaker, but I think I was yet wrong because he was double cursed. And this is where he gets hit with a knee strike right to the face by Buddy Matthews. This is where Buddy Matthews then try to go for a curb stop right onto Okada, but this is where Okada countered into a rainmaker when it must have found what they call a third time as a charm right between the legs of Buddy Matthews when we try to go for a curb stop. This is where then we try to go for a pin. He gets the 1-2. He almost got a 3, but this is where he got a near second, even though Okada couldn't even believe that Buddy Matthews kicked out of this, because normally when he hit somebody with the rainmaker, this would be it, and there's nothing that anybody could do like once they get knocked out with that maneuver. But this is where we got what's his name? Okada start arguing with the referee next. This is where because he wouldn't because the referee Stephon Smith wouldn't allow him to use his Continental Championship, but Buddy Matthews ended up going for a surprise roll-up, which is all full of the devastations. Like this, where we got what's his name, Buddy Matthews going for a curb stomp right onto Okada. This is where it was a guaranteed try to go for a pin, but this is where we got no, it was the third time as a charm because you know the rules of professional wrestling. Like if he already hit it the first time, which he did, he's not gonna work the second time likely, and then we found the third time as a charm card. Like he get that, but this is where we got the Matthews law like that Buddy Matthews did to Okada, but still Okada got the leg right up into the left corner middle ropes, like if he's that certain visionary and architect that used to been a world champion back a decade ago when the bastard Pac wrestled him when he was that other name that he was using, which I'm not sure if I should use it right here. This is where the fans were like, how is Matthews not the Continental Champion? Which I was like, if I didn't know better, I would be hoping that that was the case in any capacity with Anthony Khan, just at least have him have a weak reign with the title. I wouldn't have minded a teeny bit, but despite that is where we got Okada throws Buddy Matthews back in the ring. This is where we got this is where we got what's his name, Okada. Then went up right up on the top rope. This is where we got him about to hit a maneuver, but he ends up getting hit with a knee strike before he can even fly. This is where Buddy Matthews went right up on the top rope. This is where then he tried to plant a superplex right here, right then and there. This is where he manages to do so and picks him right back up. And I believe try to go for a Falcon Arrow like his former best friend would do, which he did so, or more likely a jackhammer because he was standing, he was right over him when he slammed him. But when he tried to go for a pin, this is where the Okada kicked out at 2.4. This is where we got Buddy Matthews and hit the Texas Cloverleaf like if he's his wife over at the other company, which I'm not sure if I should mention her by name, even though I referenced her. Yeah, Birdie Bird. Okay, this is where, but excuse me for a moment. I'm gonna help my little birdie nephew right here. I put on a show for him because I've seen them watching it. Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. Hope you enjoyed. Art Assassinators, I'm back. This is where we got a Texas Cloverleaf from what's his name, Buddy Matthews. Got locked in, by the way, onto the bitch man that claims he can control the weather. This is where this is where somehow Okada countered and sends him right into the referee that was standing right into the upper side. Then he went turn around. This is where he runs him right into the referee when he's trying to attack him. This is where Buddy Matthews made a huge mistake because he went right behind him, trying to go for a German suplex. But this is where it ends up getting low blowed, like right from behind when he's wiggling the referee. This is where Okada hits the Rainmaker that way, which was the grand slam, was the charm for the 1-2-3 to retain his Continental Championship. This was a very entertaining match, but despite it, I'm not sure if I want to talk more about it. As much as I don't want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl into the expense of against the back-to-back Super Bowl Chiefs. But anyways, this is where we got the AEW Women's Championship match, and this is where I started fearing for the life of Mariah May, even though she kind of deserves this, like from the Timeless One, because like she stabbed her directly in the back, and she got herself in this match, and also. But despite that, I'm like, if I was there, I'll be wearing the most metalist and steel material brawl that I could possibly ever find. Because, like, when she says something, she's going to follow through with her words and be a woman of her words. And she probably promised that she's going to rip the TITs off of her chest, which we're going to get into up next, is where This is where we got a pretty cool. But anyways, we got the AEW Women's Championship match in the main event, which we got a pretty cool introduction with Luther, which is the butler of Thomas Storm. They look like a doorman from the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody series, like if he's one of those doormen of those very expensive hotels in the Northeast. But anyways, this is where then we got the Thomas one came out, like as soon as Mariah May came in, this is where we got Aubrey Owens was refereeing the match because she must like doing the women's match for some reason. And yes, like this is the second wrestling event that had a women's wrestling match, the main event, the show for a women's championship, which I really appreciate that for both that company and AEW, with them showing that they both care about their divisions and in any division, like whether if it's tag team, women's, men's, like they should be all treated fairly, which as quite frankly that should be the case. But anyways, this is where we got. This is where then Tony Storm was ready to bring the fight. This is where they turned into a female hockey fight where Tony Storm was winning, like was just whacking her. When this is where she had a pretty cool like outfit on, like with the blue and with the at their home country's flag, like with it had the what it's called, the Australian flag, like. Which I would like to give a shout out to. And also, like, I want to give a shout out to another wrestler's gear. I totally forgot to give a shout out to for AEW Grand Slam with the yellow and green. But that'll be probably for a different video for a different day. But this is where we got Tony Storm start hitting some punches, some kicks, stomps, try to Irish whip Mariah May right to the bottom right or left corner side. This is where she leap dodges her. This is where she goes for a Luthez press, like if she's a certain rattlesnake over at the other company. That's where that she was bringing into a fight. This is where Tony Storm, like, you want to fight? Like, I'm bringing you a fight. This is where Mariah May somehow intercepted when she got up right into the upper left side. Hits a double drop kick right into her face when Tony Storm was on her knees. This is where we got Mariah starts stomping right onto Tony Storm right into the bottom left side. Just to repeatedly stomp. Like, when Mariah May's like, I'm really enjoying this right now of torturing the hell out of my former mentor, which fans are booing like, we hate you, Mariah. Like, we want Tony. And this was our chant for Tony. This was trying to hit there with the Mayday, but I believe she was trying to hit it way too soon because Tony Storm intercepted into a German suplex, which got the biggest reaction from the fans. That's why she grabbed onto Mariah May, hit another German suplex, like if she's a certain beast that's full of incarnates, or incarnation, I guess you could say. And also like a certain Olympian that hates the chant, what? And that's where the fans start chanting one more time when she hits her third straight one, like she was out of these two particular wrestlers that's been well known at the other company, which one that the other company I want to mention due to him being involved in a certain lawsuit from the former owner of this said company. But this is where we got Tony Storm to hit a German suplex another time for a fourth time to add some good brutal measures to the glamour. But this is where we got Tony Storm then went on to go for another one yet again. This is where she's like, should I go for another one? She ends up going for it anyway, just slamming Mariah right back versus where she just like was taking her take it all over the world with these suplexes. This is what but this is where we got Harley Cam start screaming for her life. It's like, no, I don't want to do. This is where she then went down onto the ground. This is where she trips over Tony Storm, hits her face first with her really evil grin. With Nigel McGuinness was rooting for her and being too biased and saying like, ha, like yeah, now she got her number. And hopefully I don't sound like a hypocrite for making fun of him, like. And him be passive aggressive if he sees this video. But I'm just pointing out the logic because I think he's being way too like unfair here, like with him just rooting for her and not trying to give credit when credit's due for someone like Tony Storm. But this is where we got the powerful force and all professional wrestling came up. But when we got done with the app, this is where we got Tony was on top and she was making a massive comeback. And this is where we got This is where we got Tony Storm. He got her into like some kind of a rear naked choke kind of submission hold. This is where then Mariah May's like, no, I'm not letting go. This is where she starts screaming and moaning. Like, that's not like if she's doing it in an inappropriate way, but she's getting choked out. Like this is where then I was thinking, it's like if she's in a certain room with Nigel, and yeah, I should just keep it that way. But anyways, this is where we got. This is where we got Mariah Maiden. They get sent right into the bottom corner side. Is where Tony Storm's like, "I'm not done with you, darling." And this is where she was like, "And I said I'm gonna put you back in my womb and spit you back out." This is where she tried to go Storm Zero, but this is where Mariah May somehow flip right out of it, but she ends up getting hit with a big old head. But this is where Tony Storm tried to go for a hip attack, but she gets hit right into the ring post. This is where Harley Cameron hits the Mariah May hits the Mayday. I meant to say, what am I even thinking about right now? But this is where she hits the Mayday right into the concrete floor. This is where fans start patting Tony Storm. This is where then we got. This is where we got Harley Cameron throws the timeless one back in the ring. This is where the disclaimer, I should say, where the fans are chanting, "Let's go, Tony," which this is why it's getting the golden trophy of the night. This is where it's trying to go for a middle dropkick on the Tony. She successfully executed on her. This is where we got Mariah May went right into the opposite side in the bottom right corner side. We got Mariah May was getting ready to go for the hip attack. This is where since she's right here in that position, like why not do so? This is where we got Mariah May and go for that hip attack, where they're mocking Tony Storm in the process. Like since Tony then got Tony's version of maneuver didn't work. She just tried to make fun of her. But this is where once you try to hit her with the Mayday or Storm Zero, this is where somehow Tony Storm hits her with the Mayday instead. And I'm like, talk about a full, complete double insult to injuries. Like, because like I would never thought that this would happen before. Like other than that time over at the other company in their era back in the late 90s, early 2000s, with their two iconic stars that were in a huge rivalry over for their world champion at the time. But this is where we got Tony Storm trying to go for a pin. This is where Mariah May immediately kicks out at 2.7. This is where these two women were down until we got Tony Storm. Somehow got back up, sends Mariah right to the bottom right corner side, hits her with not one, but not two, but not three, but four, like with a guaranteed of like a quadruplets of luck. This is where then she then hits I believe the Storm Zero, but she still immediately gets denied with a kick out at 2.99999. Double triple nine minus 0 on the wave retweet with Nigel McGuinness was saying it was in relief of saying that she's alive. And then this is where what's Antonio Schiavone couldn't believe that she just kicked out of that maneuver. So this is where we got with the Mariah May hits the back suplex with her shrieking in the anger. Why would you do that for? This is where Mariah May hits a Mayday. This is where we got. Okay, I'll change you. Just give me a second. I promise. This is where we got. Mariah May hits her. Try to go for a Mayday. This is where I'm almost done in the next couple minutes, Birdie. But this is where I try to go for. This is where I try to go for a pin, but still, Tony Storm goes for a kick out at 2.999999999 double triple nine minus 0 on the way. But this is where she was about to rip off the TITs off of the shirt and chest of Aubrey Edwards, which that does sound very odd for Mariah to do. Like this is where she was like, "Get your hands off me! You don't put your hands on a ref, even if you're not, even if you're not gonna hit me right in the face, but like you cannot hit me in any cop." This is where then we got Mariah May start hitting slaps left, right, left, right into the face on the timeless one. This is where she was like, "Yeah, you're dead, me, Tony." And then this is where then she went right back in a very angry mood, like we're putting it up on the top, where Luther was placing his hands right onto the aprons are patented. This is where she goes for a rolling flip hurricane Rana, but this is where Tony Storm pushes right off, but she gets hit double slap right into the TITs. But this is where then we got Mariah May go right back up. This is where she goes right up back up after doing that, adding good. That's where then she tried to go for playing a kiss of death right into the forehead of Tony before he tried to go for an avalanche suplex. This is where we got. This is where Tony Storm hit a sunset flip power bomb. This is where Tony stormed and then try to go for a Storm Zero, which he managed to do so. This is where she tried to go for a pin. This is where Mariah May somehow rolled out of the ring. Like, unfortunately, this is where she didn't look like it was going to be a game changer here. Here's where Tony Storm tried to run up and try to go for a running hip tap, but she ends up getting tripped face first right to the middle ropes in the upper right corner side, where Mariah May followed that up with a headbutt. This is where she hit the Storm Zero of her own. But this is where I was not expecting what's going to happen next, which I was like, like, don't tell me this is going to be Mariah May's moment here, like of her stealing the moment, of Tony Storm of having her in the moment, like the opposite what happened when she won, very first won that championship in her home country and city of London, England. But that's where Tony Storm came out of nowhere, hit a wheelbarrow-like maneuver, wheelbarrow inside cradle, which is kind of the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling. And you'll not believe like what happened next. She got the 1, she got the 2, and the 3, and became the new AEW Women's World Champion for the 4th time in her career. And humongous congratulations to the Timeless One of finally having her moment, like for the past 6 months of trying to get back and trying to get her revenge onto Mariah May, which she finally did and got tonight at AEW Grand Slam. And this is where Antonio Schiavone pointed out she is the first-time fourth ever champion, which I called it first. I was like, if Tony does wins, which I believe he will, she'll be the first ever woman in AEW to be a 4-time champion. But that's exactly what she did, and then that's how AEW ended in this very happy ending with finally one Aussie wrestler to have their moment and win a championship in their home country of Australia. And that's what we've seen tonight here on AEW Grand Slam, even though Harley Cameron and Buddy Matthews had to suffer a defeat. But maybe it was for the best, well, maybe mostly for the TBS championship part, because like there's no time for the CEO Mercedes when they to lose that title anytime soon. But it was like exactly how I predicted it to be, except for the part like for Tony Storm, I thought she would win like with a Storm Zero out of nowhere. But that's the only thing that was different, like how I predicted it to be. But despite all of it, it was absolutely perfect. I understand why people online would moan and start complaining about Anthony Khan's booking of AEW. Like, he may not be perfect, but that doesn't mean he's a horrible booker. Like, and he proved that tonight here on AEW Grand Slam, even though they had to move to a different building in Brisbane, Australia, because the original place was not getting enough tickets. Maybe it was for the better to do it that way. So they don't have to waste waste some good money to get a building if they're not sure if we're gonna get your profits back. But yeah, that was your AEW Grand Slam review, and I sure hope that y'all assassinators enjoyed the video. And if you ask me what kind of review I would give it, I'll give it a full 5 stars, like for being absolutely perfect and probably the most perfect special event that I saw in AEW thus far. And I sure hope that we see more stuff like this, including the pay-per-views as well. And it looks like they're taking advice from the other company, like you only have like a few matches at a time, like to tell stories here, which is going to make me more emotionally invested into AEW's bookings and product, just like I am with the other company's product. And I want to ask you, assassinators, like, what do y'all thought about AEW Collision, AEW Grand Slam tonight? And do you think this was the best special event that you ever seen in your days as a pro wrestling fan? Y'all let me know down in the comment section right down below. And if you like this video, please make sure to hit the big thumbs up button, hit the subscribe, and the post notification bell for more SNA content. And yeah, he did a really good job, like to lead things up, even like for the next event, and even for the next Dynamites and Collision. That something tells me is gonna be very entertaining as well. Maybe it's not as like what was tonight was a very perfect event, which it should have been a pay per view. They should have might as well made it a full pay per view anyway. No matter like if they had to do some other changes, like the making it a pay per view should have not been the change, because that wasn't the issue. The only issue is like probably getting a building that's going to be affordable, and also being a must-see show of all of AEW and overall professional wrestling. And then I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please make sure to hit the big thumbs up button and hit the subscribe and the post notification bell for more SNA videos. I'm not sure if I will be making a review video tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do my best to try to see if I can, though. But it's likely that I'm probably gonna just take the day off if I cannot find like if I can do the movie news video tomorrow. But for now, let's hope that. But yeah, just wish me hope for that. Like, which I'm still gonna be working on that very soon. And I hope you assassinators have an awesome rest of your night. And I'll see you all in the next video with some more SNA content. To meet again, Super Ninja Austin out of here. And in case you don't see me tomorrow, I'll see you guys on Monday for the wrestling news video on that day, and the Monday Night Raw review video, which will see the qualifier match between what's their name? Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, and Raquel Rodriguez taking on Roxanne Perez. Let me know in the comments who do you think is going to win those matches. And I think he's going to, in the women's side, I think he's going to tie up into like the storyline on who attacked Jade Cargill. Like, and we're going to see like Bianca Belair and Naomi going to be asking questions. Are they the ones that attacked her? Bianca's former tag partner, which we're probably gonna lead up into review who's the actual culprits, because they did not get the full video of like of them attacking him, so we're not sure if this is inaccurate evidence. But we're gonna figure that out in the next couple weeks, and I guess I'm gonna let you guys go right here, and I'll talk to you again, guys, later pretty soon. Bye bye.